Hey guys, this is Erica the Goober, and welcome back to my Art Basics tutorial series. In this video, we are going to be learning how to draw eyes. This was a highly requested topic by you guys in the comments on my previous videos. This is the third video in the series, so if you'd like to learn how to draw noses or lips, you should check out the other videos in the description. Just like in my previous videos, before we start drawing, we are going to briefly cover the anatomy. First, we have your upper and lower lids that cover the eyeball. In the corner near your nose, you have a tear duct. The colored part inside of the eye is called the iris, and the white part is called the sclera. And lastly, we have the pupil, which is the black dot in the middle of the iris. Pretty simple, right? One of the most important things to remember when drawing an eye is that your eye is a ball sitting inside your eye socket. I mean, they're called eyeballs, right? So when you start drawing, remember that circles are your friends. They are the basis for drawing eyes. If you draw a circle first and form your eyelids around that circle, it will look more natural and it will be easier to shade later on. It's also important to take into account the shape of the eyelids. They're not shaped like perfect little almonds where the top and the bottom curves are exactly the same. The curves of your eyelids are asymmetrical. Each lid will have a different high point of the curve. Everyone's eyes are different, so you really want to pay attention to that and where the highest point of the curves are so you can capture the specific eye that you are trying to draw. There are other factors that will affect the shape of the lid. For example, eyebrows. The shape of the brow line is reflected on the upper part of the eyelid. Keep this in mind when you are drawing expressions. If your character is surprised and the eyebrows are up, your lid will move up as well. Same for if they are mad. The eyebrows will move down and so will the top lid. It's not just the eyebrows that affect your eyelids, your cheeks will as well. So when someone's happy and they're smiling, their cheeks will move up and so will the lower eyelid. Now that we have our basic shapes and anatomy down, we can start drawing. This is where thinking in 3D and remembering the eye is a sphere is very important. So like I said, start out with a circle and form your eyelids around the circle. You also want to remember that your iris will overlap with your upper lid if it's a resting expression. Otherwise, your eyes will look surprised and maybe a little creepy if you don't have your iris touching your eyelids. In this sketch, my light source is coming from above and slightly in front of this eye. So the highlight on the upper lid is going to be on the top, and there are going to be shadows on the left and right. Make sure you don't go too overboard with the details in the eyelashes. You don't need to draw every single lash. It's best to imply them with a few lines of varying shape and thickness. Next, there will be a shadow on the lower lid, leaving a thin highlight where the lid touches the sclera since it will catch some light. The sclera will not be a bright white since the upper lid is casting a shadow. To finish up, you can add a highlight to your eye somewhere around the iris or the pupil, and then you want to add a highlight in the iris on the opposite side of that main highlight that you just added. When drawing an eye in profile, you will also want to start with a circle and form the eyelids around that circle. But this time you want to pay attention to the angles of the eyelids. Also in a profile view, the eyeball is convex, which means it is curved outwards. And this is because on top of the iris sits something called the cornea. So it almost looks like a contact lens where it's bowed outwards. This is important to keep in mind because the cornea can change the shape of the lid depending on which way the eye is looking because it sticks out further than the sclera. So when you're drawing your eyes in profile view, you don't want your eyeball to be flat. Now I'm going to show you some stylized examples using my own art. Even if you are stylizing eyes, it's important to keep knowledge of proportion and anatomy in mind. First, we're going to take a look at the front view. Generally speaking, the space between both eyes should be equal to the size of one eye. This will really help you with your spacing and proportions of your eyes. When drawing expressions, like I said, pay close attention to the eyebrows and the effect that they have on the upper lid's shape. You can see here with this Elsa drawing that her eyebrows are down in a more determined, serious expression, so her eyelids are slightly curved down as well. Next, we're going to take a look at the 3/4 view. In this view, the eye that is furthest away from you will be in perspective. So this means that the eye that is furthest away from you will be narrower in width than the closer eye, but they will always be the same height. When you have a head that is turned more, the far away eye will be even more foreshortened and shorter in width. You also want to remember that when the eye is being foreshortened, the iris is being foreshortened as well, so it will be more of an oval rather than a circle. Lastly, we're going to take a look at what the eyes look like when they are closed. Remember when I was talking about the eye in profile and how the cornea affects the shape of the lid? Well, this matters even when your eyes are closed. Your eyelid will curve more towards the direction that your eyes are pointing in. A good way to indicate this is to make the highest point of the curve on the upper lid thicker than the lower point. Now it's time to practice using references. Here I am lowering the opacity of the photos and drawing on top of the features. I indicate the upper lid, lower lid, iris, and eyebrows with different colors. For warming up, or if you are just starting out, it's very important that you don't skip this kind of exercise. It'll really help you build muscle memory and help you understand the shapes. All of these photo references can be found on my Pinterest, which I will link below, or you can download the Photoshop document of the same exercise sheet that I'm using on Patreon. After doing the warm-up exercise, now I'm ready to do some sketching. So I go through these eyes and I just kind of do some loose sketches, really paying attention to the different shapes that I observed when I was doing the warm-up. You don't have to go into a whole lot of detail if you don't want to. Mine here are pretty sketchy still, but in most of them I try to indicate a little bit of shadow and highlight. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got on how to draw eyes. I'm gonna let you guys watch this speed painting of me doing some practice, and I'm going to do some Patreon shoutouts. We have a few new top supporters this month, including Janice Doodling, Art by Tanya, Arctic Book Fox, Intrinsic, and Doodlemine. We also have a few members upgrading to the Banana Split Print and Sticker Club. These include Yoharu Art, Artist Chris, and Susan. All of these supporters will get an in-depth tutorial guide that goes along with this video, and members of the Print and Sticker Club will be receiving August's witchy-themed print and sticker. If you want to see your name up in the credits and help support the channel and my illustration work, please check out the link in the description. A huge thank you to all of my Patreon supporters. Your pledges this month have allowed me to buy tickets to Lightbox Expo in September. I'm so excited to meet other artists and those of you that will be attending. I'll be walking around, checking out the booths, and going to the different talks and demos. I plan on making a blog style video about the expo, so I hope you are looking forward to seeing that. I've always wanted to go to an artist expo and you guys made it possible. So again, thank you so much. And thank you for watching this video. I hope you liked it. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you want to see some more art videos like this one. Until next time, I will talk to you in the next video. Bye!